Welcome to the first Saruman podcast. Without a name right now, but don't worry. The Plague Doctor here, introducing our humble guest, TheCreepyDark, one of our favorite people, and someone I'm sure that a lot of you are familiar with. Someone who has captured your imagination, much as the Keeper wishes to, and I wish to, of course. First, we have our lovely interview with TheCreepyDark, and then we have a reading from our proprietor, shall we say, the Keeper. Look forward to it and enjoy the first of our humble little podcasts. Signing off for the moment, the Plague Doctor.
Welcome to the interview portion of the first Sorrow Mine Productions podcast. We don't have a name for it just yet, but if you have any suggestions, please leave them as a inbox, as a message in our inbox at the page for our videos and at Sorrow Mine Productions at YouTube. Links will be in the show notes. But I would love to have some possibilities for names, because I thought of like Who Was Phone, but that's a little too much. But for now, this is just the Sorrow Mine Productions podcast, and we have a lovely guest with us today, ThCreepyDark. Say hello.
Hello.
We're just starting out, but we have a relatively popular reader with us today.
Well, I wouldn't say relatively popular just yet, but definitely working my way up the ranks.
I'd say you're, honestly, from what I can tell from the community, second only to Mr. Creepypasta. At least when it comes to the regular readers. So.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, since I uploaded Jeff vs. Jane, my subscriber rate has almost tripled.
I can't wait to get to listen to that. I've had, because of finals week, I've had readings piling up that I got to get to, plus my own that I have to do. But for a little,
I will just say, it's not. Unfortunately, the pasta itself was written by a potato. It's quite a ridiculous pasta. So
wow.
I've sort of done what I can to it to keep Jeff's stance and keep the story intact for the Jeff saga, if you will.
Yes. That would be an interesting single episode. Would be a Jeff the Killer episode, but that's for another day. So what we're going to do today is just a quick interview and some discussion about creepypasta. And as you heard from our intro, this podcast is going to be about the community around creepypasta, which is something that's that's important to the readers and to the writers for creepypasta, and it's become a little bit of a minor phenomenon, surviving out of X, which is amazing in itself, and going on to YouTube and other websites. So, anyway, well, let's get this started. So, ThCreepyDark, what made you get into creepypasta just as a hobby? When you started reading it.
It's nothing really in particular. I mean, I was just sitting in my room one afternoon and I was listening to some Mr. Creepypasta and inspiration just struck me. I really can't explain why, and I just got my iPod out and did the story alone, and just sort of went from there. I really enjoyed, I've always enjoyed creepypasta as a whole for a couple of years now, and it never would have struck me to read it outside of Mr. Creepypasta, I think.
Right.
Because I didn't find him till, I don't know, 6, 7 months ago. Probably a bit longer than that. But yeah, I think inspiration just struck me one afternoon, and I've really enjoyed doing it since then.
And the community is definitely really latched onto you, especially like on the Minecraft server. Everybody knows you instantaneously.
Oh yeah, well, I think the main thing that gives appeal to my channel is because I'm British. There's a fair amount of American readers that are quite. I mean, you got like Miss Shadow Lovely and obviously Chris Craft, God rest his soul, and Mr. Creepypasta, but they're all American. So I think the British accent really gives appeal to me as a whole, which is something the Creepypasta community doesn't seem to be used to. So it's new, it's exciting, it's something different to listen to.
I agree. That's one of the reasons why we have multiple readers, because right now you've only on our channel you've only heard 2 at the time of this recording, but we have 3 and a possible 4th. But we have a wide range of different voices. Well, all of us are from the South. We're from Kentucky, so you got the quite strong accent in some of us. But it's different. We have Dustin, who plays the Keeper, who has a very deep voice. I'm a bit about mid-range, and we have a friend of ours who has more of a stronger accent and a little bit different, more different voice, and it really works in the stories that he's already recorded for us.
Yeah.
So, let's see. I guess we can move on to what's your favorite creepypasta? Just the one that you've latched onto the most.
Whew, that's like asking a child his favourite chocolate bar.
I know.
It's a tough one. I mean, I recently done a story with Brother Dark, Grotesque, and I absolutely loved that story. It's definitely up there with my favourites, but I think it's going to have to be Jad Usable's Ben that takes the cake, because it was the first one I ever read, and it still to this day truly shits me up. It really does.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Yeah, that's one that I think everybody has some sort of affinity for. And by the way, we are playing a Legend of Zelda episode, possibly 2 episodes, because there is so much Zelda pasta, it's not funny.
I see. I've put down on my channel the Legend of Zelda collection, which I originally intended to be 2 parts with only 4 stories, and then I was actually browsing through the wiki recently for some more. So I originally had the Blogspot creepypasta,
Right?
And it turns out there's like 50 stories. So I'm wondering, do I extend it to 4 parts with 5 stories, or
be discerning? Be discerning, because there's some great ones and there's some terrible ones.
Yeah, so I've yet to read all of them, but there's a fantastic one I've got coming up in part 2, which will be soon.
Awesome.
If I don't know, actually, it depends on the time of this goes out, really.
Right.
But I'm planning it soon.
By the way, we are recording this on Sunday, the 6th, 2012. Just for anybody who needs that, that'll probably be in the intro as well. Well, we have our first cut, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry about that. It just kind of occurred to me.
No.
Going out.
That'll probably stay in because I was funny. Anyway, so what? Something that we were speaking before we hit record was lost episode creepypasta, and that brings up just the different genres of creepypasta. So what's your favorite type? What's your favorite genre of creepypasta?
Definitely Slenderman lore. I absolutely adore the Slendermen. I fear them, but I love them so much. The idea. I have a small theory about them, but we'll get into that another day. But yeah, I absolutely adore Slenderman.
Of course, will have to be a lengthy discussion for another day. But do you have any that stick out? A Slenderman story that sticks out for you?
Not particularly, but no, I don't think so. Just any Slenderman. I mean, the one I did the tribute video for Chris Craft a while back, and the story he wrote in that, I had to rewrite with the knowledge I had for him. But I think that was definitely one of my favourites, mainly because of the description. He took a slightly different take on Slenderman stories.
Right.
And I remember when he was reading it to me over Skype a while back, it was just like, oh, this is absolutely amazing. He used the description and like some people see the Slendermen as their faces just as like a dead air television static. And I don't know
Hmm.
why, but I really, really loved that sort of description.
That's interesting. See,
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to listen to that one mainly because I've got like 9 or 10 different channels now that I've talked to that I wanna listen to. Um,
yeah,
Gladly, I'm in summer and I don't particularly have any obligations until June, so so I can finally get through some of these. Yeah, I think everybody's watched Marble Hornets though, and that was probably
uh,
yeah.
Marble Hornets. That is,
The first season is probably my favorite.
yeah. I mean, it's gotten a bit bad as it goes on,
Yeah,
but definitely the first 20 episodes or so. Really, I remember watching them. I was watching them late at night, and I had to leave the lights on and just had to have some kind of protection just in case Slenderman walked through the door. I was so because I genuinely believed it for the first 20 episodes. I thought, oh my god, this is real. And then it sort of goes on a bit, and you go,
yeah.
actually, I can start seeing the acting and it gets progressively not worse, but just progressively forced. If you get what I mean.
Right, more you can tell it's more acted, which is something I
Yeah.
agree with. Which I still enjoy watching every entry when it comes out, but I agree that the original was reviewed by Roger Ebert rather. So I mean, and he
Yeah.
liked it. So that says a little bit of something, even though I disagree with him. That's something for a later discussion.
Yeah.
Anyway, so are you a fan of horror films, games or anything in general outside of creepypasta?
I don't know if I can really call myself a fan of horror.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know too much outside of like your basic horror film, Jeepers Creepers and stuff like that. But I do definitely enjoy a good scare. I mean, I won't say no to a horror film or horror game. You know, I mean, recently my friend got me into I don't know, have you played Cry of Fear? It's a
No.
someone made a game using uh, like bits from Half-Life, but they made a full game out of it
Oh,
rather than
yes,
mod.
it's the Half-Life mod. Yes, I
Yeah,
have heard of that. Rely on Horror did a piece on it, I believe.
yeah. Oh, oh my god,
Oh, I'm gonna
it's
have
so
to
funny.
check it out.
Yeah, I'm a very very jumpy person, so it doesn't take much to scare me. And I was only playing it for I don't know half an hour, and I came out of one door and turned left, and there was one of the creatures just standing there and charges at you, and I let out this massive scream that fucking pretty much just shook the house because it was so unexpected, and I absolutely adore games like that. So like in Silent Hill, the
Hmm.
first sighting of the creature made me go, ugh! And I was like, as you're coming down the hill in the fog and you hear all the bush rustles,
Yes.
I'm taking it very slowly just in case something jumps. And I think that's the main reason I do enjoy a good horror game because the more it makes me jump, the more I seem to enjoy it. I think.
You always have to have that sort of thing. Even though I like the dread a little bit more. That's
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's what makes it for me. Of course, this podcast is going to, of course, be focused on creepypasta, but it will be in a general horror discussion because of the affinity for horror from creepypasta fans.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
so
creepypasta seems to sort of ascend from the horror genre. It's sort of a side page. You got the
it's
horror,
a
and then
genre.
it's
It's
like
a genre of horror.
yeah,
You know,
it's a sub yeah,
it's it's got its own tropes, just like a slasher film will have its own tropes.
yeah,
And that's one of the things I like about it. Being a relatively recent but very fervent horror fan, as I look at my giant collection of Walmart bargain bin DVDs. Seriously, $5 for 20 Alfred Hitchcock films. I jumped at it. There's Peter Lorre in those, so it's awesome.
How much was that? $5.
$5. 20
That's for
20 of his
20
films.
films.
Yeah, some of his old, and it goes back to the 1920s and 30s films, the ones that he did on television. But these still had big name actors. Peter Lorre where it was in quite in two of them, and I love Peter Lorre. So
Bloody hell, for all the British out there, that's probably about £2.90, which is phenomenal.
They even put probably my favorite horror film, John Carpenter's The Thing, in there for $5. I'm like, what is this? What is this?
Jesus Christ, that's so
I know.
cheap.
And that's why I go down there like every so often. And it's just like, well, there's $5 and 3 hours for me to watch the movie and the commentary and the special features. But moving on, this is a little bit more towards what this podcast is going to be about in general. Is what are your thoughts on how the community around creepypasta is growing? The readers, how many are there? Are there too many? Not original enough, original. Just general thoughts on the state of the community.
One of my favourite things about creepypasta is the community. I mean, like I say, I'm not exactly massively known, but I'm fairly well known, I'd like to say. And I do have, I try and interact with my fans as much as I can, because I enjoy talking to them, and they have good tales, they have good stories, and some of them do their own readings, which is absolutely fantastic. Because I personally don't think you can have enough readers. You need variety with this sort of thing. You need to have 10 people to listen to, or 20 to listen to, or 30 to listen to. It's nice to have that variety, because different ages, different accents, different ethnicities, and different voices, and different, because a lot of people have their own takes. Like if you look at Vicious 516, I think it is, he's got a great voice, and he accompanies it with video effects, not necessarily video, but video effects. And Mr. Creepypasta, he just does the pictures like I do, but I try and, where I can, I try and add like basic visual effects and stuff like that. I try and mix the two, but it's quite difficult with certain stories being,
Yeah, and especially like when they're pushing 20 minutes on our most recent video for Arizona. That pushed 20 minutes. But one of the things that I plan on doing is, once we actually have our technology set up and days to go film, we're going to do more of what Vicious does and film things, because I don't want just pictures. That's one of the things that Starline wants to do, is actual short films. So basically this is just getting background shots for those films, but using them for more than just that. And another thing that we do is that we actually focus on trying, especially myself, because I have 2 characters that I play. We focus on getting acting, like true voice acting in it. Taking a baseline character, because most creepypasta, it's pretty basic characters. You just have, the gamer guy, especially, is one of the most famous, stereotypes to put into a creepypasta, and it's easy to, just do that, because, if you're a fan of creepypasta, it means you've probably been on the internet for a while, and if you've been on the internet for a while, more than less you've came into contact with games, so. Basically, you're playing yourself, but one of the things that I would really like to see from the community is more people coming up with characters, more people coming up with ideas to to make these creepypasta more special. Because, like, for example, after Mr. Creepypasta done it, I don't think we can have another Jeff the Killer unless somebody comes along and is able to act out that character pitch perfectly. And then, yes, this is going to be the superior one. I don't know if it'd get more views because of the head start, but still, we'd still be able to hear the story from another perspective. And that's one of the things that I would like to see from the community.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I do like your take, where you have, you've got the mine, and you have these characters from the mine. It's a very nice take, and that's what I like to see, is the variety, obviously. Like, me and Mr. Creepypasta are just basic readers. We read it accompanied with pictures. There's nothing more we do to that. Whereas you've got 3 or 4 different characters, and it gives more of it just gives more options for people to listen to, really.
Well, at the same time, but like you said, with the variety, we need the people that are just, doing straight stories, because, for example, like, I can't sit down and watch Marble Hornets, which I do consider just basically an auxiliary part of what we do, you know, or rather we're an auxiliary of them, as they came first. But you know, it's related. You know, I can't sit down and say, "Oh, here's some Marble Hornets. Now I want to go play video games," because that's what I do. I normally play video games while I'm listening to Creepypasta. It's funny because I always make the reference to A Clockwork Orange. It sharpens me up, you know.
Yeah.
With a little bit of the old ultra violence. But
just saying that quickly. Someone on it was on my most recent video. Someone posted a comment saying I reminded them of Alex from Clockwork Orange. I mean, personally, I don't see that, but what do you think?
Possibly, it may just be the fact that somebody is relating it because of Malcolm McDowell. Which, by the way, there's a horror convention near where I go to university, and Malcolm McDowell's going to be there next year, and I'm excited. I am very excited.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's one of the things that, you know, going back to what we were talking about, though, that's something that we need is, you know, the people that are doing the regular stuff. But even then, there are things that you guys do that I honestly think that are interesting. You know, doing the crossovers, doing the different specials, the you know, the couple times where you have said, "Oh, let's do a collection of pasta," which is also really helpful because, you know, clicking, you know, oh wait, oh, I've read that one, nope, read that one, oh, I haven't listened to that one, it's not scary enough, you know. But when you have a collection, you know, it's easy to turn on a 20-minute video and just listen and play 3 games of Halo, you know.
I mean, that's the way I used to take it with Mr. Creepypasta. I sort of sat down, I'd put like if it was a 5-minute video, I'd listen to it, skip to the next one. But if it was a half an hour long video, like Jeff the Killer, I just accompany it with Minecraft or something. And
exactly,
it was a good way to concentrate on the video and the game and keep my world separate from the world.
During my first semester of university, I would that's when I got into Vicious. So I would listen, like I would wake up at 10 in the morning. And, you know, I'm barely awake, and I'm like, well, you know what I could do before class starts? And then turn on The Storm Man, which is probably my favorite, or The Rabbits, which there's a story behind that one.
Yeah, The Rabbits. That one creeps me out a little bit. I will.
But, yeah, all those, I would listen to them, and, again, wakes me up. You know, it gets me ready. So, that's one of the things that... So speaking to the listeners, you know, that's one of the things that the listeners of this show, you know, I want to know, like, what you guys want in your creepypasta. What do you guys do? And just like I said, I'll put a link to our channel in the show notes, and you just click that and tell me how do you listen to creepypasta, and also if you were to or you know. Shameless pimping. But again, like, moving on, you know, do you have any recent creepypasta that you'd like to you'd like to say, oh, I read this, or I listened to this, you should too, you know, recommend us some pasta?
Pastas from my channel I could recommend would be Grotesque, featuring Brother Dark.
And I can also say that it's amazing.
And interesting note about that, the person who wrote it, Lucas L. McManus, I think it was, actually his first original content story, it's not technically a creepypasta, it's just something he wrote. And given that's his first story, you can expect some more from this guy and some fantastic work, I would hope.
I spoke with him not too long ago. He's the one that actually turned me on to Arizona, which is the one that I recently read. And wow, the guy has an eye.
Yeah,
just an eye and an ear for these great stories. And Grotesque was a very scary Minecraft session for me.
And skipping off from scary, something different I've not really seen much of in the creepypasta community is something we call now Theo Pasta. Mm-hmm. So something to you know, really tug on your heartstrings and possibly bring a tear to your eye, would be Love, featuring Miss Shadow Lovely.
Yes.
And when I first read that, I was like, oh, this story.
I have.
It's such a lovely story.
It really is, and I sent it. Me and Dustin, the keeper on our channel, we listened to it, and it was a man tear moment because both of us have military in our families, so that was even tougher to listen to. So
yeah.
And that's something that I actually want to see more from creepypasta. There's the scary ones, there's the disturbing ones. There are genres and different types, but I would like to see stories that just have the elements, because we have horror comedy, we have horror dramas, we have horror romances, which, if you've never seen the original Let the Right One In, that is the perfect horror romance, just saying. Anyway, but we have all these different genres, so why can't that be in creepypasta? So that's one of the things I want to see more of, and that's one of the things I look for, especially when I'm trolling around the wiki looking for things to read and things to put on the channel. When I see something that's different, I latch onto it. And one of the things that I want to recommend is something that I have not even got done reading yet: Humper Monkey's Ghost Story. This thing is a novel. I'm not kidding. It's a novel. I don't know where it's from. I don't know who wrote it, but it's like, it's got to be at least 100. Like, if you would put it in a book, it would nigh hit 100 pages. This is a long story, and I've wanted to do a reading of it, but then I just look at it, I'm like, oh god, I'd have to do like 10 videos, each one half an hour long.
Blimey.
But it's
similar to the House of Lead videos, then.
Yes, and the Holder series. God.
The Holder series. Speaking of the Holder series.
Oh, yes.
I am going to do, and I will stick to this, and I am going to do all 538 stories. I know I said originally I'm going to do all 601, but unfortunately after the Holder series physically ends, number 538, they start getting... to put it nicely, retarded. I was looking at one, and it's called The Holder of Weed, and I just think, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, no.
It just kind of wrecks the whole element of the Holder series. But I will be doing 538. Approximate finishing time, 2016. I worked it out. If I do 3 a week, which is a fair number,
yes,
it will take me 4 years, which is absolutely ridiculous, but it's something I am going to stick to. Something that hopefully people will appreciate by the end of it.
God. I really, really respect you for trying that out, man.
Thank you. I just hope everyone else does.
Well, yeah, they seem to be getting quite a lot of traffic for your site, or for your channel, rather. Yeah,
I mean, they're going up slightly. I mean, they're definitely the least popular of all of my videos, bar the first couple. But people do seem to appreciate that they're there,
right?
Because certain people don't like creepypasta essentially, but they love the Holder series. I've noticed.
Which is interesting, because I had never known the Holder series until I heard some of the first ones that Mr. Creepypasta put up, and I did some looking, and I was like, wow, how did I miss this? My favorite story is Candle Cove, and I was, I've read all the big names. How did I miss this?
Yeah, and it's definitely some. I mean, some aren't as great as the others because they're sort of fan posted, I think. So there are some that are lacking slightly, but there's others like the Holder of the Song. I really love that one. It's probably one of my favourite holders so far. And but then you got others like, I think it was the Holder of Wealth was a bit. It just spoke Luigi's Mansion to me personally. I didn't really find it thrilling, or it wasn't exciting, or there was nothing to it really. And it's just, unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of that, given that there's going to be 538 videos.
Yeah, but that's one of the things about creepypasta. If you're a big fan, you're going to sit there and shift through the shit for hours until you find that one story that freaks you out so bad that you wake up in the night going, hell no! I seriously, this actually goes into our next question, but I've seriously gotten to the point now where if I if I don't fall all the way to sleep and I'm just in that like twilight between, but I'm still asleep,
Yeah.
I will start to have fever dreams, and every now and again it will deal with like for somehow in my dream I came up with a alternate origin for Jeff the Killer. It was ridiculous. I don't know. He was in some sort of group of people, and like I guess a gang or something. He had already started killing or something, and he was in a gang. And at one point there was a gas truck, and so, like another person in the gang like shot it or something, and somehow it exploded, and he was just in the area where his face and body would get burned. And it was really weird because in the dream it didn't burn, and then it like it became white after it healed. It was just like it morphed into white. I woke up like, what the fuck, brain?
I can't say anything like that's ever happened to me, but that's definitely something I wish would happen.
Get a story in the middle of the night. See, I'm terrible for that. Like, I'll wake up from a dream like, oh my god, there's a story. Oh.
I kind of like that take on it, though. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something to explore if I ever get around to it. But yeah, like I said, like, do you have any amusing tales like that about creepypasta, or how creepypasta has affected you or anything?
Nothing involving me, but going back to the Jadusable's Ben story, my sister is horribly afraid of it. I mean, it proper shits her up. Every time I play the Song of Unhealing, it still freaks me out a bit, but when she plays it near me, I get a shoe thrown at me or something. The nearest heavy object gets thrown at me, you know. And she was just sitting on Facebook, and she does that a lot, and she's just sitting there, and she was tweeting someone, and she just randomly got a tweet from Ben saying, "You shouldn't have done that." And she was like, she got another one later saying, "Oh, you've met with a terrible fate," you know, typical Ben.
Yeah.
Stuff.
There's a lot of Ben trolls on Twitter.
Yeah, but see, I just figured it was one of her friends. But the only three people she's told she's scared of it is me, Brother Dark, and one of her friends at school who's not a very, you know, computer knowledgeable person. So it couldn't have been any of us. I know it's definitely not me. I wish it was me because it's fucking hilarious. But unfortunately, it's not. And ever since, like, I mean, when she came in running, she was on the verge of tears saying, Ben's gonna kill me, I'm gonna die. God. And just every now and then he just tweets her, and it keeps, I mean, there's some guy on YouTube she's been watching, Majora's Mask playthrough. And obviously in the game you get to the Stone Temple Tower and you have to learn the Elegy of Emptiness to get the Ben statue. And when the guy was playing it, he got to the Stone Tower and he did the last Ben statue and he just randomly screamed, "Don't drown!" really loud. It was proper hilarious. But her computer froze and shut down at that point.
Oh God!
After the Ben statue appeared, and I came home that day and she wouldn't touch her laptop for a day. It was absolutely hilarious.
That is brilliant.
She's genuinely convinced that Ben is trying to kill her or something. I think that's the only amusing story I've got involving creepypasta.
Oh God! See, you know, my group of friends, and a lot of them are the ones that are working on Sorrow Mine with me. You know, we've been, you know, we're always on Xbox, you know, talking on Xbox Live, and a lot of the times we'll have just creepypasta nights, and just somehow, you know, with some synergy between us, we just all decide, let's read some creepypasta, freak ourselves out. And while sometimes there'll be something to get to me, like that one, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's like I was on X and there's a film. It's not Taken. It's I don't know.
It's not a Liam Neeson film, is it?
No. It's like crap. It was a 1990s film. It was like it was an art film. I'll remember it at some point, but I keep on wanting to say Fallen, but no, that's the Denzel Washington you know, horror film, but yeah. I don't know. But there's an old like art film, and it freaked me out. But so sometimes we'll find that, but sometimes we'll find really good creepypasta, and for example, like a lot of the times we'll find ones and we'll just talk about how good they are. One of them that we had found a long time ago was one that Dustin ended up reading, which was Don't Open Your Eyes, which is one that's pretty popular to be read. It's a pretty popular pasta. And I actually told you this story, but when we did the video of it, I'd known it, auxiliary. I'd read it once or twice, but when you're editing the videos, you listen to that, especially if it's a short pasta, because you want these. If it's a short pasta, you gotta make sure every part is right.
Yeah.
Because you can, the 20-minute long ones, you're not going to spend 3 or 4 hours trying to find out exactly if your timing's right. But on the shorter ones, you're able to have that luxury.
Yeah.
So you listen to that thing like 10 or 20 times, at least. So that night, it was complete. I had not been thinking about it or anything. I had played some Marvel vs. Capcom, and I was going to bed. And I was in my dorm, and my my roommate was never there. So I was alone in my dorm, and I'm just falling asleep. And I hear, what the? And it was like, I opened my eyes for a split second, and then that story clicked in my head. Close my eyes, shut them as fast as I can, thinking, I'm fucked. Because it sounded like something was tapping on the giant-ass windows that we have in our dorms. And I was terrified because I'm not particularly awake. I was just falling asleep. So I'm so bloody scared for no reason, and I would not open my eyes. I would not do it. I even turned over because I was uncomfortable. I turned over. I kept my eyes closed the whole time. And then, like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes later, I must have woke up or something, because I'm like, the fuck am I doing? And I got up, opened my eyes, and I'm like, what in the world? I had a moment. The only thing I can figure out, it was something, it was somebody in another dorm, knocking on something, but it freaked me out.
Yeah, that's when you've got a good pasta. When something happens in real life and you suddenly you freeze and you just pull, childish coping mechanisms. You just pull the covers over your head, you hide, you shut your eyes as tight as you can, praying nothing's going to happen. That's when you've got a golden pasta.
And that's one of the most beautiful things about it. And that's one of the things, like, video games, to get us a segue into the last question here. In video games, one of the things I tell people is, like, there's a lot of scary games, but there's very few true horror games. One of my favorites to play is the original Fear. While the sequels, went more actiony, and they're not bad, it's just they're more action. You can play Fear, and you can have a couple really like, whoa, shit moments, But as soon as that game is off, it's off. Can't hurt you no more. You're fine. It leaves. And you can go to sleep fine. But I swear to God, when I was first starting to play Silent Hill, oh God, I could not sleep. And what was crazy is I got into Silent Hill as the first thing that got me into horror. So I was scared by Children of the Corn. And then I went straight to Silent Hill. And that was a bad idea because I was sleeping on the couch for 2 months. And I'm not kidding. 2 freaking months. I could not, because my room in my house overlooks a cemetery. So, no. I look out the window and there's a cemetery. Like, nope. Nope. So, no, not doing that. Nope. And plus, I live in Kentucky, so right outside is also this giant forest.
Where I live in England, it's very, 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 very countryside. So there's a lot of cornfields and forests. It's very spooky living around here some night. You not want to go out at night, sort of thing. Especially if you read what we read. It's very, very unnerving. And the fog, I shit you not, the fog on the thickest days is like the Silent Hill fog. You cannot see 2 feet in front of you.
It's the same thing here. My high school was on this hill. So, and it was high enough to where the fog would be over just the school, but not over the road. So I'd be driving, and then I'd look up, you know, of course, at 8 in the morning, like, oh God, no. It's like you just in your head you hear, oh no.
Oh, get out of here.
Run. But of course, you know, with Silent Hill, it's like, well, once you're in, you're in.
I have to say, like, I'm very new to Silent Hill, but I mean, I brought the HD collection a couple of weeks back, and it puts me on edge so badly. I'm sitting there, like, just waiting for, like... So I remember there's, when you first get the apartment key and you go into the apartment and you're working your way around, like, all the rooms, find out which ones, yada yada. I remember that when the bars are on certain bits, I was running up a hallway and Pyramid Head was just standing there, like, just glaring at me, and I'm like... I jumped, like, it made me scream. Yeah. I was like, oh shit. Hang on, are you just standing there? Dude, James, there's a big man with metal on his head. Do something. And I don't know if it was a bug or that's meant to happen, but he was just standing there like, yo, sup, bro?
The HD collection is weird because it's got a couple glitches that the old ones didn't. I've had like the straitjacket enemies be glitched inside of a wall, just barely, and they'll start freaking out. I mean, these things are normally twitchy, but they'll freak out. And so I'm walking around Silent Hill, oh shit, what the hell? What is that?
You know when you first get the flashlight in the room, when it's like on that doll thing, and then this thing with like four legs comes out. I literally threw my remote and ran. I've never been more scared of a game in my life. And I've played Amnesia and I've played Cry of Fear, and that I was just like, what the fuck is that? Because being new to the Silent Hill, I don't really know much about it aside from my knowledge from the film.
Right.
That's the only Silent Hill I've actually seen, which wasn't a great film in all fairness, but
it's still fun for fans, in my opinion. But
oh yeah, I mean, it's not a bad film essentially. It's just
it's still got Akira Yamaoka's music, which makes any film better.
That's definitely a win. Silent Hill music is something I've not played. I've only played 3 of the games. Homecoming 3 and 2.
Right.
And I've got the music from the entire collection. And oh my god, I've never heard better video game music in my life besides Zelda.
And what's
Zelda
crazy,
out of the equation, Silent Hill takes the cake.
I still put Nobuo Uematsu's Final Fantasy soundtrack's a little bit better than Akira Yamaoka, but it's up there. I gotta say the like Downpour, I was really, really surprised at how good it was. The music isn't as like overt now, it's much more like slow, but like when you're walking around Silent Hill, which by the way is like a fanboy's paradise because it is open world, so you can actually walk around and find stuff, and it's really interesting. I really do like Downpour, I'm a big proponent of it. But when I'm walking around, like certain parts, there'll just be this slow stinger, musical stinger. It's like, and it's just this slow little piano hit, and as soon as you hear it, you're like,
you turn around and forget. It's like, someone behind me. Oh, no, it's just fine.
It's like oh shit. Something bad is going to happen. So I guess it's basically a moot point. So it's something I want to ask every single person that we have on here. Is basically in horror you have, you know, Freddy versus Jason versus Mike Myers. In music, you have Rolling Stones versus the Beatles. But in horror video games, you have Silent Hill or Resident Evil. You're normally one or the two, or you're a bigger fan of one than the other. So
definitely Silent Hill, I would say. I mean, I've not played a whole ton of Resident Evil, mainly because it's become such a big kind of series now. But I would say out of the two I've played, definitely Silent Hill takes the cake. More or less because it shits me up. Resident Evil, it's like you know what to expect. It's going to be a zombie or two, and you got
you say that, but I guess you haven't played Resident Evil Remake. If I was going to give one Resident Evil that could beat any of the Silent Hills, except for maybe 2 and 1 for me, Resident Evil Remake, because they really focused on making it pure atmosphere. So even though it's just zombies, those zombies are scarier than, a crimson. Basically, you dread every 5 seconds because you know that there's going to be a bloody crimson head and it's going to screw you up. Because Resident Evil, the early games, are so much harder than any Silent Hill. The puzzles are harder in Silent Hill, but the actual gameplay, just moving around, is a lot harder in Resident Evil, in my opinion. But because we're going pretty long here, but I really want to thank you for being on here for this interview, man.
Not a problem. Really enjoyed being here.
It's been a really great discussion. I hope that once I get it edited down, I hope that we can put this up pretty soon. We want to have another segment after this, which is going to be a reading from our resident keeper, and also we're going to have maybe another, maybe not. But like I said, look forward to the reading from the Keeper, and I will see you all next time on the yet-to-be-named Sorrow Mine podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Keeper's got a story. Keeper's got a story. I'm warning you again. He'll show it to everyone, eventually. Watch out. There's still poison. Listen at your risk. The Keeper wants to tell you a story. It's called Return to the Earth. Signed, the March Hare.
I think this might be the end. For us, anyway. Man, all that we've accomplished. I've had plenty of time to think about it. Ever since the last time I saw the sun. The last time I'd ever see it. It's not the end of the world. But it's the end of us. I guess it started almost a month ago. Although it could be longer. There's only the clocks scattered around the house to tell me how long, and half of those are dead now. Anyway, I'm straying from the point. It was on the news. A cruise ship sank for no reason. It wasn't damaged. Just pulled straight down. Then the rest of the stories flooded in. Everything in the water was sinking. Oil rigs disappeared. People on the beach pulled down into the abyss. Nobody seemed able to explain why this was happening. Nothing floated anymore. It was bizarre. It filled the news for a couple of days until it just got frightening. It was during one broadcast that it took a change for the worse. It was a report from some beach, an on-location report about this strange phenomenon. They were just recycling. Same questions we'd all been asking for days. Suddenly, panic seemed to grip the face of the reporter. And she screamed as the camera quickly tilted down. Her feet were sunk into the sand, down to her shin. I remember smirking. I thought it was just some overly sensitive reporter messing up. But no. The whole media circus that had descended onto the beach covered the same story. The reporter, who was down to her shin a minute ago, was now down to her chest. And the shot of writhing, screaming, sinking people ended shortly as the camera was engulfed by the sand as well. News stayed on for a few more days, but there was nothing to say. Some blamed sinkholes for what happened on the beach, while others argued against them from the safety of their downtown studio. The news was a waste of time now. It was much easier to look out the window. It was more or less a ghost town outside. Everybody was just sitting inside their houses, afraid to leave. It didn't seem to make sense. The roads, pavements, being absorbed by grass and dirt. Street signs, traffic lights, being consumed by the plants. Houses, too. Some people tried to run, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, looking for higher ground. And occasionally, while flicking through what was left of TV broadcast, found out the skyscrapers had become refugee camps. I made one trip out of the house since this started, across the rooftops, an attempt to get supplies from a nearby supermarket. That plan seemed to be a waste of time as well. It was a husk by the time I got there, looted and pillaged. That was all the evidence I needed to see how bad this whole thing was. It's easy to be in denial about something like whatever this is until it really seems to affect you. When I got back to my house, I noticed something. My car was gone. Well, almost. You could still see the top poking out from the overgrowth of loose soil. Not just my car, all of them. Bigger vehicles were still inside, but only partially obscured. A few days later, my whole bottom floor was subterranean. I had managed to block the windows and door from bursting in from all the dirt and soil, but it was just a cell now, a mausoleum. Not somewhere I wanted to be. I spent most of my time by an upstairs window, staring at the hostile world outside. My neighbor died yesterday. He fell off his roof and was swallowed by the earth. He's not the first person to do that either. What made it notable was why he fell. He was trying to stop his dog from getting out. Dog's fine. Well, I assume so. It just ran off. They're not affected. The animals. This is our fate. That nihilistic little discovery was too much for me to bear. This whole thing, a living nightmare. I hit the bottle hard, and I passed out for the night. When I woke up, my head was pounding in the darkness. I flicked the light switches and the fuses, but the power was out. I took the flashlight by the fuse box and looked around the house for any supplies. While checking the upstairs, I saw it. The last glimpse of natural light I'll ever see. I'd been thinking it was just night, that I'd slept all day in an alcoholic coma. And by the time I could cross the room to the window, it was gone. It was underground. I tried to get out, smashing through plaster and tiles, just to be greeted with a stream of soil pouring from where the sky should be. I don't know how much longer I've got in here, in my house-sized coffin. There's only so much food and so much air. I've got a little bit of light, a couple of candles, book of matches. Flashlight died some time ago. But this is our fate. Man's fate. This is our return to the earth.
Thank you for listening. The Keeper is so happy that you did, as I am. Don't worry, we'll be back soon to tell more stories. And maybe talk a little more with our interesting listeners. We may have a little bit of a small rodent problem with the rabbit in the mine, but don't let that stray you away. Come visit us at our little channel, our foyer out of the mine. Sorrow Mine Productions wishes you well from the Plague Doctor and from all of us. A special note from the Keeper, though. Remember that this time next week we'll be talking to humble little narrator, another visitor to the mine. And thanks to our guest from this week, TheCreepyDark. We do enjoy all of our visitors, him especially. So, from all of us at Sorrow Mine, stay creepy. And do take a listen. It won't hurt much.